One better than the other.
The shame, the embarrassment, the utter humiliation, the Halloween horror you had to sit through last night. I am so surprised you even showed up today. I congratulate you. I am proud of you for even sitting in that seat on national TV after what you had to endure last night.
My only saving grace, GOAT didn't play. That's the only reason we lost that game. You know we would have lost that game if GOAT had been there.
My question is, why didn't GOAT play?
You know, hey.
Huh, that's a better question.
We had two superstars. We got to beat a winless team.
Yeah,
you know that.
Oh, yes. So it was kind of a tough night for the Lakers, but Shannon makes a good point. In their second straight game without LeBron, the Lakers were up by 26, but still fell 123 to 115 to the Thunder. Russell Westbrook had a 20-point triple-double, but also had 10 turnovers contributing to the loss. 10 turnovers. Shannon, how did the Lakers blow a 26-point lead?
Well, I was tweeting this in real time, Skip. They stopped playing defense. They started jacking up shots, and they started turning the ball over. And that is a recipe for a loss. You know, Skip, they say a man's flaws are interwoven into the traits that make him great. If you look at Russell Westbrook and we look at the traits that make him great, I can tell you every last one of his flaws. You see, what happened was, Skip, is that all of a sudden, you know, things are going well. They're running their offense. They're going through AD. They're getting wide open looks. Everybody's playing. And then all of a sudden, man, you know what? Held a team to 19 points in the first quarter. They're like, man, we good. And then they give up 37 in the second quarter. And then they come out in the third quarter and say, you know what? I know we can do worse than that. I know we can give up more than 37 in a quarter. And what they do? They give up 41. So in the span of the second and third quarters, they give up 78 total points.
They did.
Really? Again, got out-rebounded. How does a team with Anthony Davis, with DeAndre Jordan, with Dwight Howard get out-rebounded by a team? They can't have anybody over 6'10". And they got out-rebounded. It's only two, but it's the mere fact that you're getting out-rebounded by much smaller teams. Skip, look, Russ is who he is. This is what you mean. They keep saying, we need Russ to be Russ. You will never win with Russ being Russ. There's a reason why he has not won since Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant said, you know what? I'm loading my truck up and I'm not moving to the Bay.
Thank you.
So stop this. Stop saying we need Russ to be Russ, because you saw Russ being Russ last night, and you saw what he got you, a quadruple double, but in the worst way.
In the worst way.
10 turnovers?
10 more turnovers.
And here's the thing. Had LeBron been there, I don't believe they lose this game, because LeBron takes the ball out of his hand. Because Russ is stubborn. He doesn't understand. I don't like his basketball IQ. He sees the momentum changing, and what does he do? He'll come jack up a three. He sees the momentum changing. He'll still go 1-on-4. He sees the momentum changing. He's trying to throw a lob from half court. Bruh, can you understand that the momentum is changing? They're gaining momentum. You do not need to attempt these ill-advised shots. But he can't help himself. This is who he is. At some point in time, Skip, we are what we repeatedly do.
That is
what
correct.
has he repeatedly done over the last 8 years? Be first or second in turnovers. That's what he's done. So therefore, it is not an accident. It is not a singular act. It is a habit. That's who he is.
Thank you.
So until...
What I have been saying for years and years. Go ahead.
Until LeBron realizes that you're not going to win. You're not going to go nearly as far as you want to be. If he's your primary decision maker, because he makes the worst decision.
Correct.
Now, everybody was on.
Thank you.
Just yesterday, they was blowing up. I told you, look at Russ. When LeBron get back, I'm saying he can't play like this with LeBron. And what did he do? He jacks up to it. Skip, he's an inefficient, ball-dominant, high turnover player.
Thank you.
Let me repeat. Inefficient, ball-dominant, high turnover. And when you say, well, Shannon, inefficient, he scored 20 points. Yeah, but it took him 20 shots. Oh, he had 14 turnovers. Assists. He had 10 turnovers. There is the inefficiency. There is the ball domination. Hey, but they believe they can do it. They believe they can do it. I am unconvinced.
Likewise. but I dug in on this before the season started. This is who he is and who he has always been. And what hit home the hardest to me was I kept my TV on for the Laker postgame on our local here in L.A. Sports Spectrum, featuring the great James Worthy. And he was racking his brain and finally concluded that it was the ugliest loss in Lakers history, given the fact, obviously, this Laker team is the consensus pick to win the West.
Right.
And given the fact that going into last night, everybody would have ranked the Oklahoma City Thunder, the seriously baby Thunder, as the worst team in all. They were winless, but they're the worst team in pro basketball because they are starting at shooting guard. Josh Giddey, who they took 6th overall, he's 19 years old, from Australia, and he was the one who threw it to Carmelo late in the game, just threw it right to him, and Melo was like, I can't get a hold of the ball, and I'll shoot an air ball that fell 3 feet short of the rim. And they've started Darius Baisley, who's 21 years old, and Shai Gilgeous, who's a pretty good player and has proven to be pretty good, but he's 23, and Dort's 22, and Isaiah Roby came off the bench and did pretty well last night, and he's 23. They're just a bunch of children.
Yes.
And you allowed them to come back from 26 points down, and the great painful irony was Russell Westbrook went back home to Oklahoma City, where it all started for him, and where I told you that a source very close to Kevin Durant told me that the reason Kevin decided I can't do this anymore, I've got to join forces with the team that we had down 3-1 in the conference finals, the Golden State Dynasty Warriors. I've got to go there because I cannot win a championship going into year 10 with that man as my primary decision maker, because Russ dribbled the ball up the floor for those Thunder, and it was Russ's choice. Am I going to do it or maybe let you try to do it this time? And finally, Kevin couldn't take it anymore and said no. So last night, the irony was Russ goes back the conquering hero. I finally arrived. My dream came true. I am now the point guard, the next Magic Johnson for the Los Angeles Lakers. I grew up living and dying for in Los Angeles. It's my team. We don't even have LeBron tonight, so watch this. And what did he do? Yet again, another triple-double, except it turned into a quadruple, as you point out, with 10 turnovers. So he had 10 assists by halftime. That's, as Vogel pointed out after the game, that's extraordinary. It's hard to get 10 assists in a half. But then in the second half, he had only, 3 assists of 6 more turnovers. Well, that won't work, and that's why you lost a 26-point lead. So to your point, what I've always said about Russell Westbrook is his greatest strength is also his greatest weakness. His greatest strength is he plays harder than anybody on the offensive end of the floor. And his greatest weakness is he plays so hard he plays completely out of control.
I agree.
And he has, over the last 5 years, gotten a triple-double pass for all the poor passes, the awful passes he throws, because he's averaging triple-doubles. And he's almost doing it again for your Lakers. He's now up to 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. It's almost he's doing it again. For the last 5 years, he has averaged inconceivably a triple-double. And where has it gotten his teams that he played for? Nowhere. Because it's a solo act, stat machine. You can't take your eyes off it, but you can't trust it if you're talking about winning, right? Because
especially down the stretch, Skip.
You can't
because he was Skip. Even as the game got closer, he tried harder and harder to will. Skip will. I get the will. Oh, he willed that shot in. You can't.
And to your point, I've always said this. This is the damnedest thing about Russell Westbrook. He's a point guard who has a lousy feel for the game of basketball, but he is a cinch, slam dunk, first ballot Hall of Famer. A point guard who doesn't have much feel for the game is going to be a slam dunk first ballot? How do you explain it? It's because he plays so hard. everything that he gains in stats, they're all hustle stats,
yes,
right?
Yes.
He scores by hustle. He rebounds. He really rebounds by hustle. He gets his assists by just going into 1,000-mile-an-hour attack mode to where he's playing so fast. Sometimes people come open, and sometimes he leaves it for them, and they dunk it, right?
Right.
Okay, so all of that works, but in the end, he has absolutely no conscience. He doesn't have the conscience every other point guard in the world has, because after the game he said, okay, I'll take the blame for this. You know, I've got to be more careful with the ball. I got to protect the basketball. But he doesn't believe it.
Exactly.
You don't see it manifest itself. The next game he'll go out there saying, I'm almost averaging a triple-double. Watch this. I just had a triple-double, right?
Skip, the thing is what LeBron, when we talk about in Magic and all the great point guards, they understood, okay, they're gaining momentum. Let's slow the pace down. Let's make sure we get a good shot. That's not how he thinks. Oh, they're trying to come back. Let's go right back at them. And then guess what? He loses the ball out of bounds. And so what was an 8-point lead that could have gone to 10 or 11, now all of a sudden you lose the ball out of bounds. Now they got a chance to come back down the other way.